Y'all, what a guan. I just want to say peace, like, share, subscribe, Cash App, you know what it is. Just wanted to speak on this, just talk about this fake ass movement, the FBA movement. I wanted to talk about this a while back, but now's there's no time like the present since it's going to be going on all year. I did a video on Umar Johnson just to kind of segue to make my point. And I said from now on I'm doing all the Umar videos. It's going to have a date on there. And the date is going to be 12/21 because that for me is the timeline as to when Umar is supposed to get this school open. December of this year. Whether it's December 1st or December 30th, it doesn't matter. Okay, and obviously he hasn't been back to the school yet. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen. But that's the date, that's the theme that's going to be with the Umar videos. Anyone who's been been checking out my platform knows I'm not a big fan of Tariq Nasheed either. All right? I used to at one point, but he's clearly somebody who is a problem in the black community. And the people who follow him are just, in my opinion, they're just not intelligent. They really aren't. Which is good for Tariq. I mean, Tariq finds people that honestly they don't have two brain cells to rub together. Let's just keep it a buck. And it was highlighted in a live that I was listening to a couple of weeks ago. Now, the young lady you see here, her name is Dr. Shana Etchine. I don't know how to say her last name, but she goes by Dr. Shana. And I've known her for a while. She's been on Voice's platform a minute. She's good. She's what she is. She's a counselor. I know she does marriage counseling, relationship counseling. She's based out of Jersey. She has a show every Friday, and I believe she'll probably have a show on tonight on Sunday too. I think, but she has a show once or twice a week. But she's actually pretty good. I mean, I'm a sub, and I do like her content. She speaks about a lot of good stuff. She does mention FBA, which anyone who mentions FBA is just, to me, I just cringe. But and she also mentions ADOS as well, to be fair. But I guess she's a person. She wants everybody to unite pretty much. I don't think she cares either or. Just anyone who uses FBA, because FBA is a fraudulent fuckboy movement. It's fuckboy associated, fuckboy affiliates. Fund my bank account. It just the whole foundational black American bullshit. It does not make sense. But she was doing a live couple of weeks ago on the incident that happened in Harlem with that young woman getting bitten and attacked by those thugs. But just a little bit about Dr. Shana too. She's a therapist. Just like Umar. And if you remember when Umar opened the school back in 2019, and he invited everybody down to go through the gym, and you saw all those people jumping around and everything and saying, oh, we got the school. She was one of those people in that group. Now, hold on a second. All right. She is supposedly in his profession. They're supposedly in the same profession. When I say supposedly, she's legit. I wonder about Umar. You really don't know. I'm starting to wonder now if this dude was just an actor all along. And also supposedly Darrell too, who, look, I told him on his platform, there's a lot of weirdo shit going on with this dude. There really is. All right. And if you see how she does her platform, it's so professional. It's set up well, and she doesn't, there's no weirdo shit that goes on with her online, unlike the other two guys. All right. As a matter of fact, Umar should do what she does and set up his background a little bit better and dress up and line up his hair and shit and try to look professional like she does. But the point is this. Yeah, she went down there to support him, which we all support. Everybody who's attacking him supported him as one point too. All right? We wanted this guy to succeed. But I bring that up in that she spoke on this a couple of times. I think she did a live on Umar, maybe almost a year ago, and to discuss it. But she also spoke on Umar, I'd say maybe a couple months ago, and she notices what's going on. But she said, in essence, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, that look, if somebody went after my life, I don't know if what Umar's doing is a scam or not, but I know how I'd feel if somebody was trying to take my license away or something like that. I don't know if she's gone through that herself, but there's a part of her that kind of emphasizes with that aspect of him professionally. Okay, and again, I don't, with the just bizarre behavior that Umar exhibits online, I really wonder if this dude has been nothing but an actor all along. But she does emphasize with that, and I can respect that. Because you don't see her talking or bumping up Umar, trying to defend him or nothing. So I can respect that. So I think that there's a side of her that she's like, listen, I know how I'd feel if somebody was trying to take my license away or take away my profession or whatever. So I get where she's coming from, and I can respect that. But back to this live that she was doing. She was talking about what happened in Harlem, and she was breaking down a lot of the craziness that's been going on regarding, just black dysfunction. And her, she has a different view on it than I do. I don't think that this reflects black people at all. She kind of saying that, yeah, you know what? This is something that we have to nip in the bud. And me, myself, this doesn't happen every day with us. This is not something that we do. Okay, you got a bunch of clowns, and, I'm glad they caught dude, and I hope they toss him in the Bing in hard time for about 10 years for doing stupid shit. I said that in the last video. But as she was doing the live, she was talking about the Harlem incident. And somewhere in the line, look at this buffoon right here, right? Look at this clown, this guy by the name of Eric Kennedy. And as she talked about it, this fool says, FBA men don't do that kind of stuff, meaning bite people or harass people. But this is who Tariq produces. This is who Tariq Nasheed produces. FBA people don't do that type of stuff in such a snobbish. This is so disgusting. And notice someone in the chat said, thank you, Dr. Shah, because she was pushing back against, nah, that's not the case. And she brings up something later on in the conversation. But you see the type of rhetoric that's put out there. And I really want the fuckboy movement to tell me, because, again, you're not getting reparations. There's no way this guy is going to lead you to getting reparations. That's not his goal. Because if you ever get serious about it, eventually you got to do one or two things. You either have to get a group together, like a serious group, a bunch of lawyers, a bunch of professionals, a bunch of scholars, what have you. You have to organize. And first thing you have to organize. Organization, no matter how you organize, you got to do it. And you have to go to the Capitol, right? And you have to present your case before Congress professionally, all right? I'm not talking about the farce that happened a couple of years ago. I mean a serious, we want our reparations. And literally just to the point, people leaving work, people literally stopping the country saying, yo, this is what we want, our reparations. So you either go before Congress in a professional way or do what the maggots did a couple of weeks ago and storm the Capitol, bum rush it like that. It's either or. You cannot have it where you sit down and Twitter bang all day or throw out rhetoric like this. It's one of the two. And you have to ask yourself whether this clown in Tariq or even the Ados dudes, whether Yvette or Tone, whether they're all going to do that. Because Tariq just jumped into this obviously to make some money. I'm going to touch on that as well. This is not, he's not interested in getting, just imagine this guy standing before Congress. But my question is, if you ever get to that point where you're sitting before Congress or there's any sort of serious insurrection, what are your talking points really going to be? I mean, are you going to come with the talking point and say, you got to give it to us because we're more moral than these other blacks who you're trying to associate with us? Is that what this is all about? In other words, if we were literally on the plantation and I'm standing there and another quote unquote, fuckboy standing there, who consider themselves that, I'm just going to call them what they are. If you okay, foundational black, whatever. Or you're going to point out to Master and say, nah, Master, I'm a better Negro than he is. This is how you're going to do this? And notice what the Mac himself said, right, on this subject. He said, attacking women who don't give you no play is highly looked down upon in foundational black American culture. Huh? And you know what? I'm going to show you where this guy runs into himself too, because he says, so in other words, attacking women is looked down upon in foundational black America. Let's stay with that for a second. Okay? Plus FBA dudes don't go around biting. Who goes around biting women at all? What sane person goes around biting anybody? Oh shit. But he actually, I have to give him some sort of props that he actually has you fools thinking this. So then you go down and later on in the week, I guess like a week or so later, they catch the guy. Whether they catch him in Brooklyn, I think they caught him, he's out of Brooklyn or whatever. I heard stories that he may even be in the area up in Harlem and he stayed with a woman, ironically. But they caught the guy, right? And they put out the guy's name. They said this evening Tyrone Cooper was apprehended by the NYPD or whatever. And someone answered Tariq and said, you blamed the assault on the girl in Harlem on non-FBA. Tyrone Cooper sounds FBA as hell to me. Why have you been so silent on this? To which this fool answers, you know that Cooper is a popular last name in the Caribbean, right? He just pulls shit out of his ass. See, again, the answer to this incident is, who gives a shit who did it? Who cares if he's from the Caribbean or down south or from, you freaking South Carolina, or they're from Tennessee, or they're from Africa. Who cares if they did that? But this is what this fool said. Now, if you go Google on the most popular Caribbean last names, Cooper is probably down in number 168. I'm not even gonna put down the links. I was dumb enough to go and do research on this and take the bait. It doesn't matter. Cooper is a black, tons of black people, whether Caribbean or American, have that last name. But I just said, okay, for shits and giggles, let me go ahead and look it up. Cooper was down in number 168 or 170 or something. Where black Americans, Cooper is up in like the 52 or 53. But this is what this guy is doing during a pandemic. It's clear he's got to be struggling because it's like he's doing anything he can to make money off of black people and pushing this rhetoric out there with dummies like in Dr. Shauna's chat, eat it up and say, yeah, we FBA. But this gets even better. This is going to get even better as we go along. So he says, Cooper is a popular last name in the Caribbean, right? Which is just dumb. But he goes on, and somebody catches him out there. This dude is out in Africa. I guess, see, right now, being black American is cool, but of course, he was pushing the Africa thing not too long ago. So there he is in Africa with his hand on his fist because being Pan-Africanism was cool. Then he answers that, notice how I don't go to other countries and not bite people. So when you go before Congress, your statement is, well, we're more moral than the other niggas. Look at what they've done. You sound like a bunch of crackers. You literally sound like a bunch of white supremacists. Literally. So as it goes on, right? Here goes some another. She said, laugh out loud, but if they happen to be FBA, right on. So what the heck, man? What's wrong with no matter who does it? Which is what I've been saying. You make it sound as if all FBAs in Harlem are angels, right? But then he says it again. Dudes don't go around biting people. Listen, guys, if this guy goes before Congress ever, all right, and really, you would want Yvette and Tone before Congress, even though that shit's falling apart. Now they're going back and forth with Darity or whatever, but they're the ones who you'd want before Congress, not this clown. So here goes one of Umar's dick riders, his nut hugger, saying immigrant coons get their feelings hurt quick, huh? They just not built for this. This goofball who, see again, these are the dudes that bought the Ogun juice and are literally, like sipping on this dude's lip gloss and shit. Eating up whatever he says. And then, obviously, there are people out there with some sense that how do we know they're non-FBA? All right? Not that it matters now, but you brought it up first without no proof. But you don't need proof. You don't need proof. As long as, listen, he's selling the Ogun shit for $50. You get 100 or 1,000 people to buy it, what is it, like $50,000? Who gives a shit? Who cares if you miseducate people? As long as you're able to pay the rent. All right? He said, you're preaching hate amongst blacks these days. I guess your colors aren't hidden anymore. I guess... and the hidden colors, should notice he stopped that. Like I said, the hidden colors thing, y'all can't tell me what you learned from it. Because obviously, if you've hopped onto this rhetoric right here, that hidden colors and all that shit, that was just a scam to be that. I'm not going to call it a scam. It's becoming more and more like it's just a fraud. That's all it is. I don't think hidden colors is going to stand the test of time. I really don't think so. So then I guess they talk about like FBAs on the march. This is when everybody in Harlem. Now, there were hundreds of people who roamed the streets who were against what that dude did. The dummy that showed his face all over the camera. You don't know if they're FBA. You don't know if they're... You don't know who the fuck they are. Right? But of course, you're saying FBA's on the march. So Shauna, Dr. Shauna, just back to that chat for a second, she brought up an incident that happened in Indianapolis. Okay? And it involves this dude right here. Now, if you look at him... Well, let me just read the headline. I'll leave the link in the chat too. It says, a teen slaughtered his family, police say. The father's last words were, I love you. Okay? And let me just read this real quick. It said, the horror on Adams Street began with an argument that plays out in nearly every American family with a teenager, a battle out of staying too late. Right? This one, though, didn't end up in a grounding or scolding. Police and prosecutors say it ended in the worst mass killing in Indianapolis in more than a decade. A family, mom, dad, 2 siblings, a pregnant teen, and her unborn child, less than a week from entering the world, was slaughtered. Another brother escaped and tried to buy his life with $40. He was shot and left for dead and became the sole survivor of the massacre. According to that surviving 15-year-old, his father's last words to the son who allegedly killed him were, I love you. Right? The Marion County office announced Thursday that Raymond Ronald Lee Childs III, gee, I wonder if Childs is FBA or foreign black, or really, how many Africans or Caribbeans run to Indianapolis? I'm curious. Or maybe they're from Canada, right? But forget about that. Childs III has been formally charged with 6 counts of murder. Now, when you look at this Childs, now look at him real closely, because clearly you guys are expert anthropologists. You claim to be FBA, so as soon as you're FBA, you immediately become expert anthropologists. You can tell just by looking at a person. That's an FBA. No, that's a foreign black. Nah, that's a tether, whatever the fuck tether means. Yeah, that's not one of us, or that is one of us. Right? So the nose, they got the, wait a minute. The nose, he could be Ethiopian. Maybe he is. I mean, look, see, the lips are puckered up the way it is. Maybe he is part African. I don't know. Because Tariq clearly, he looks at people and says, your lips are such like this, and you look kind of like African. That man is that man is a parasite, Tariq Nasheed. He is a parasite. So, Dr. Shauna brought this story up and said, at just 17 years old, Childs cannot be put to death. So the dude didn't even hit 18. So I guess he's not going to face the death penalty or whatever. But this guy, clearly American, right? Just a 17-year-old was arrested Monday in the house of a relative just a day after his family was found slain. So he took out everybody. 42-year-old Kezzy Childs, Raymond Childs, also 42, Eliza Childs, 18, Rita Childs, 13, Kira Hawkins, 19, and an unborn baby boy were pronounced dead, being found in a home shortly before 4 a.m. And I'll leave the link. And listen, you can read it all you want, but again, who gives a fuck where these guys? This guy must be FBA, but who gives a shit? Who cares? But so when you get the reparations, how are you gonna explain that? When your white daddy looks at it like, yeah, okay, we'll get rid of these foreign blacks, but listen, you niggas, y'all ain't too much better. So I mean, I don't know about this. You're gonna let this man be judge and jury throughout this whole thing just cause, please. So, but look at this guy. Same thing, right? It's incredible. So, but let's go on with this, because we were talking about FBA don't do these sort of things. FBA don't bite people. This is what Tariq said, right? FBA don't go around biting people. That's not in our culture, right? He said, just to confirm what this clown said, so I'm going back to it. Yeah, he said attacking women who don't give you no play. Right? Attacking women who don't give you no play is highly looked down on FBA culture. Now, check how this contradicts with some other fuckery that this guy decides to bring up. Weeks ago, Buster was on, what was he on? He was on the Drink Champs with Nori, right? He was talking about hip hop and Kool Herc. Basically, that Kool Herc, who's one of the pioneers of hip hop, right? And he broke it down that, Kool Herc, who happens to be of Jamaican descent, and Buster's of Jamaican descent. Buster's legendary, right? And so Tariq gets a hold of this and says, I like Buster, but this isn't true at all. Kool Herc came to the U.S. and used a combination of things. Foundational black Americans were already doing what Herc and was not playing Caribbean music at his jams because audiences here rejected it. So we have to be clear on get the fuck out. Listen, but this gets better though. This gets better. And I'm going to show you, because see, now you want to claim hip hop as FBA, right? But a couple of weeks ago, some months back, you were saying how Caribbeans came here and corrupted the culture. You said this. Caribbeans corrupted the culture, right? Bambaataa, who is also non-FBA, non-fuckboy. So is KRS. So are tons of people. But let's talk about some of the FBA people that you have in hip-hop, like NWA. You said FBA people don't disrespect women that don't give you any play? What did NWA promote? What did they promote? Is DJ Quick, is he FBA? Or MC8? Or Spice One? Tupac was FBA, wasn't he? We can go down the list. What about what's in it? Sir Mix-a-Lot. So this clown, he wants to claim hip hop all of a sudden, and even though before he was attacking foreign blacks who clearly have or are some of the founding fathers in hip hop, now you want to claim hip hop? So then, just to show you how idiotic his people are, we go down this thing and it says hip hop comes from Signal. This guy right here, this Gen guy, this guy is a clown. This dude, again, another brain dead follower of Tariq. This guy is like neck deep up his balls and shit. He's like, hip hop comes from signifying Black American culture way before Herc. And look at the example this dumb ass, this brick-headed Negro uses. These guys are called the Jubalaires. Look at this shit. Okay, so someone answers him right after that and says, what in the entire F are you talking about? Because this right here are the Jubalaires. The Jubalaires, this is back in a song that they made, I believe, in the late 30s. The late 30s, right? And the genre is American folk music, gospel music, and spirituals. But hold on a second. Wait a minute. Let's listen, because usually in hip hop you got to hear people spit. And this Gen guy, again, he said Herc made a breakbeat. He didn't rhyme or put phrases out together. No shit. DJ Kool Herc. DJ. Not spitter, not MC. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. He contributed to it, but he heard among popular Black American music, specifically James Brown, who was probably the most sampled in hip hop. First of all, James Brown is the most sampled in hip hop. But here's something else you may not know about James Brown. In his own autobiography, James Brown stated that he had a Chinese and Native American ancestry, that his father was of mixed African American and Native American descent, while his mother was a mixed African American and Asian descent. That doesn't sound like the fuck boy. That doesn't sound like FBA, does it? Look at his eyes. It's clearly he has some Asian in him. In his own autobiography, that means that he is not fully FBA. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh, unbelievable. So, like I said, you're going to see this. He said, Herc said it himself. He copied James Brown. No kidding. So? Boy, oh boy. You know this guy got five Ogun juices and shit. He probably got the yearly pack, 100 of them and shit. But listen. Oh, and here's another one. Niggas was rapping on wax before Kool Herc. But I really want to get to the Jubalaires, because I want you to hear them spitting. I want you to hear them spitting to see how foolish these guys are. But here it is. These guys are saying, somebody tell Busters about these gents. And there's another guy who brings them up again. Oh my God. So let's hear these guys spit. Check it out.
that's the only time we're religion, brother, that's the only time we're religion. Why don't you get it? That's the only time we're religion, brother, it's good enough for me. My Lord, that's the only time we're religion, brother, that's the only time we're religion. Why don't you get it? That's the only time we're religion, brother, it's good enough for me. Yes, just come on, brothers, if you want to hear a story about that preacher and the bear. Gather round, boys, I don't want you to miss none of this here story, cause it goes like this. A preacher, he went out to hunting. It was on one Sunday morning. Though he was one Christian young man, but he took his gun along. Well, the first thing he shot was a bunch of fine quails, and he shot him a nice fat hare. Then through the woods on his way back home, he met a great big grizzly bear. Then the Reverend fell down upon his knees. He sent up a great long prayer. Whilst he cast one eye to the heaven on high, but kept the other eye on the bear. He said, the Lord delivered Daniel from the lion den, Jonah from the belly of the whale. The three Hebrew boys from the fiery furnace said, a good book do declare. Now look here, Lord, if you don't help me, don't you go to helping that bear. He needed that the only time. Johnny needed that the only time.
So there you go. So you have, hey, listen, this may be hip hop. I mean, you got the violence, you got, you know, someone getting a cat bust in them. You got the bear getting a cat bust in them. You're talking about sending his soul to heaven. You got, you know, hell. They talk about hell. They talking about God. Listen, this may be the NWA's influence, right? So you had violence, you had anger, you had no, but they didn't talk about no women though, you know, about smacking bitches. So, but you see what's going on here, folks. This is so ridiculous. This is what these guys. This is what Tariq has produced. All right, from all these people who bought Hidden Colors and went to the theaters and shit, and this is what it's come down to. This. So it's and also too, it's interesting. You are fighting for this FBA shit. In other words, foundational Black Americans, right? The red, white, and blue. Have you ever stopped to think what the red, black, white, and blue actually means? Has anyone ever done that? The red, white, and blue. Like the colors of the flag, here's what the colors of the flag mean. Because when you look at this, and this is all really what this is about, all right? This foundational Black American shit. Basically, these guys, it's about selling product. It's about you selling product, bro. All right, and look at the names here. You got Boyce and Tariq and RZA and Joe Brown, and you got the sneakers and this is all about selling product. But the colors though, you love the red, white, and blue all of a sudden. You've never seen Black people rocking America, you know, patriotic like that. But here's what the colors of the flag mean. This is according to custom and tradition. And I just got this from Google. I'm sure this is, you know, it's pretty much the same regardless. But what do the colors of the flag mean? According to custom and tradition, white signifies purity and ignorance. Red means hardiness and valor. And blue signifies vigilance, perseverance, and justice. My question is this. When the founding fathers put this together, you really think they were talking about you, Negro? So when they put the colors together, do you think they were talking about you? There's an artist, this is an old-time artist, K Solo. Anyone who knows hip-hop, K Solo is down with EPMD and the Hit Squad, Redman, Keith Murray, DOS Effects, and that was the crew right there. But on his first album, he had a song called The Messenger, and this is what is, you know, anyone who knocks hip-hop, like hip-hop used to be like this. Anytime someone put out a hip-hop album, it usually had two things. Really three, all right? But it usually had two things. It usually had an ode to their DJ. Like on the album, you'd have 10, 12 songs. It's usually an ode to the DJ, like the DJ does their cutting or they have their own song. And they almost always have a song where they're dropping some sort of knowledge, like pro-black or something to steer Black people the right way or something inspiring or whatever. He had a song in here called The Messenger. And on The Messenger, it says, this is just some of the lyrics. My people fought in every war America had, and still we don't have a black stripe on the flag. So I ask brothers and sisters like you, what does the red, white, and blue flag stand for you? Blue for the war that brought you. The white star for the white man that fought you. The other white stripes to make you see and understand. The red on the flag represents blood of the black man. Either way you look at this flag, how is it pro-black? But this is what you're moving towards? Do you really think that... Okay, remember when he said... What K Solo just said, they don't have a black stripe on the flag for you. So let me ask you this. When you get reparations, is that something that you're going to be fighting for since you built this country? And also think about this. You claim to be FBA and you built it. You found everything. This almost... Why, if you built everything, these guys literally stole everything and they're stunting right in front of you. Doesn't that make people like, I hate to say it, the gender bangers right? The Cynthia G's, who says that black men are weak and they don't run anything. Doesn't that make her right? Because these guys, you created everything, you built everything, and they just deboed your shit and they're just riding around with your bike and you're doing nothing, and all you're asking Debo is, Debo, can I at least, can I at least ride, sit on the bike? This is exactly what, why would you even admit that you're FBA? Knowing this. And if you know this, why isn't Tariq sitting down saying, let's organize to go march on Washington, instead of organizing during COVID to some bullshit FBA conference where you got to bring your own ice cooler? So the rhetoric that's been put out there, I just want to know, to everybody who claims this FBA movement, what are your talking points? Drop them in the comments. What will you say if you ever get before Congress? What exactly what case are you going to make? Are you going to sit down and keep attacking Caribbeans and Africans? And I know this goofy Nigerian bastard out in who's running for governor or whatever. His name is not in front of me right now. I mean, he just threw you guys some red meat. All right. Some coon says, "Oh, get rid of Black History Month." You want me to go through all the Black Americans who said the same thing? So, yeah, man, you see this, and you keep following this guy, you're just not going to get the reparations. And again, I think that there should be a theme, and I'm just going to put down a time. Maybe 24 is the next election. Okay, 1024. 1024. Because as I said earlier, the only way to get the reparations check is either through separation, bloodshed. You have to go before Congress at some point, either professionally or bum rush the Capitol like those cave beasts did. Do you have the guts? Or would you rather sit here and Twitter bang and attack your own brother? So like, share, and subscribe. I'd like to see what you guys have to say in the comments. And listen, I'm telling you, I mean, you keep following this. I mean, this is all, you guys are all about fun and games. This is not any fun and games, bro. All right, this guy's just basically trying to separate you. And if you had any sort of conviction, remember what this dude is doing. I remember everything. All right? Stop forgetting people who are trying to hurt you for their own benefit. Because this guy is problematic in the community. He really is. So like, share, subscribe. That's all I got to say, man. Cash App, you know what it is. Peace and big up on yourself.